Welcome back. You're watching Sports Federation TV. Now, the next administrator from the sport of judo is here to tell us a little bit about the exciting current events that are happening. And judo is a sport that originated in Japan in 1882. It was added to the Olympic Games in 1964 for men, and later in 1992, women were also allowed to compete in judo at the Olympic Games. Welcome, Mr. Mike Jobe.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining us. And you were last on the show late last year.
That's right, yes.
What has judo been up to since then?
We keep ourselves busy. We go through the what's normally the Christmas season. Excuse me. And we train people train 2 or 3 times a week, and we've had some other events other than the one that we'll be talking about later on.
Okay, so your league would commence at the beginning of the calendar year.
Pretty well, yes, because we're all leading up to the national championships, the South African Open Championships, which is in the middle of the year, June, July.
Okay, so have you seen a growth in numbers then with new registrations and things like that?
Registrations is the word, because there are a lot more people doing judo at school and in clubs and so forth who are not registered, but our registrations have gone up considerably this year.
Great. So are people doing judo at the schools then by private coaches?
Yes, yes.
And would you call them senseis as well?
Yes, they would be in their area.
In their area. Okay. Judo, as I mentioned, has the prestige of being an Olympic sport as well. Yeah. What makes it such a world-renowned martial art?
It's always been able to qualify for the Olympic Games because there is only one judo. There are no styles. The rules anywhere in the world apply. The language of Japanese is used by the referees, by coaches, and the players actually refer to it by those names. So it's totally universal. You can go to any country in the world, go into a judo club, and you know what's going on. You may not be able to have a conversation with the people, but you can fill in, just fall into the practice.
I mean, judo is actually a sport probably made famous by Hollywood and, well, the Asian cinema circuit and movie circuit. So everybody might confuse it with karate or anything else, but people more or less are familiar with it.
Yes, I would say they've had more than their fair share of publicity in judo.
Yes.
Than judo.
So you're an administrator in judo?
Well, I'm a coach. I do some administration as well.
As a coach, have you seen some success stories with the people from the Western Cape in terms of their performance?
Yes, we have a sprinkling of people who won gold medals at the last South African Open Championship. It fluctuates from year to year. Some people bring them home 2 or 3 years in a row, and others maybe once in a lifetime, because that is where the highest level of judo is on tests, so to speak. If you can win a gold medal at the SAs, you have proved that you're the best in South Africa.
So for those people who excel on the national level, is the sport at a level yet in terms of sponsorships where they can do this professionally? No,
we don't have, to my knowledge, we don't have any professional judo players. They don't get paid. A lot of people are subsidized, and they get a lot of assistance out of the training academies that have been set up by Judo South Africa for high performance. And but again, in a world where somebody has to earn a living one day, he's not going to earn a living as a judo fighter, so he has to get an education at the same time. So some people have to give up a year of schooling to go into one of those things. Although they're supposed to be college education while they're there. They will occupy themselves in non-judo hours with something like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's the case for many of the not so commercialized sports out there. So I've read that people with disabilities can also compete in judo, even at Paralympic level.
Well, very much so. At Paralympics, we haven't yet qualified anybody for the Paralympics, because like all Olympics, you have to go to a lot of other events to get the points to qualify to go to the Olympics to represent your country. But I coach the blind. the blind and the visually impaired. Currently one of them is probably my best player. I shouldn't let him hear me say this, but probably my best player. He's the current South African sighted champion in his weight, and he won the Commonwealth Championships.
Your athlete with the visual impairment.
Yes.
Well, that's something to be proud about. Now, you're a coach, but can one assume then that because you've been awarded the glory of being a coach, that you competed in the sport at some point in your life?
Yes, I went to the Munich Olympics for Rhodesia. I started my judo in Rhodesia, and I went to those Olympics.
Rhodesia, the old Zimbabwe.
Yes,
Right.
well, it was the old Rhodesia.
Old Rhodesia.
But as you will know, we didn't compete because there was an Afro-Asian block on the thing which put us out of it. Yeah.
So you said Munich.
Munich, yes.
Okay. And how long were you competing in the sport for?
Well, when we had a Taiwanese police team came out here once, they wanted to know why the old guy of 48 was still fighting, and it was because nobody else would fight them at that stage. But yeah, I certainly did the veterans and the masters and things like that.
Okay.
But it's a tough sport, so you soon feel your age.
Okay. So how does judo differ from mat wrestling?
Well, judo also includes throws. You get points for throws. The whole idea is to throw somebody flat on their back, or you hold them down for 20 seconds, so you're not causing them any pain, but they can't escape. Or you secure a submission to an arm lock, only to the elbow joint though, or to a strangle or to a choke.
Okay. Well, we've got a picture from a recent national ranking tournament. We can have a look at that. Would you like to tell our viewers exactly what was going on at this particular tournament?
Yes, there's nothing happening right. There's a fight going on at the very far end, but this, as you can see, was at the Western Cape Sports School. It was this last Saturday, the 6th of May. Probably the biggest event that we will host in this province during the year. But this, as I said earlier on, is the opportunity for the best players in South Africa to get points when the national body comes to selecting people for a national team. We get an invitation suddenly out of the blue. You don't have trials. You go to the ranking event, the ranking list, to see who's got the highest points.
Whoa.
So you need to go to all of them. You can't afford to let one go by without it competing.
And you have to
in
be consistent in your preparation,
Yes,
I presume,
obviously,
because like you said, this could happen at...
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Which club are you specifically involved with?
My club's the Judo-Con.
Judo-Con? Where is that based?
It's in the old engineering workshops of the Groote Hospital.
Oh, at Groote Hospital. And
Yes.
your age range of your membership?
Well, I've said this any number of times. The best vibe, if that's the word, in our club was when we had about 10 or 12 guys who were over the age of 40.
Lovely.
Because they look after each other and they do it exactly as I say, like a social event. It's fun. They're friends, they're good friends, they look after each other. And I don't take youngsters under the age of 12 for personal reasons, but they do sometimes come along from somewhere else. Right now at this very moment we've been sent a couple of youngsters who train elsewhere but want to train with us. So we say to them, try it out first of all, see if you like the premier. Nobody forces anybody to do judo. You need to feel comfortable.
You've mentioned your specific club at Groote Hospital. Yeah. Is the sport generally easily accessible in the Greater Western Cape area?
It certainly is in Cape Town. We've got about 13 clubs in Cape Town, extending from a club in Somerset West. There are not clubs, but there are schools being coached in Kommetjie, in Camps Bay, and so forth. It's largely a question of whether somebody can find a venue that gives him access to a field of people.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit later about the contact details, but there is an upcoming event that Judo is looking forward to now.
Well, the 20th of May is our third and last trials for our team, the Western Province team, actually the Western Now we've changed because of the border.
Yes.
The border changes,
The new
and I keep
regions.
using the old terminology. The Cape Town Judo Association team to the national SA Open from the 2nd of July to the 8th of July in Bloemfontein.
Okay, so
So
you
that's
have,
our next one, which is on the 20th of May, and that will decide finally who the team will be.
how does Western Province or Cape Town do in the national tournaments generally?
You have individual fights, which is where an individual gets a gold medal or not, and then the teams fight each other. And you can imagine that the Gautengers, Eastern Cape now, very much coming to the fore. They've had a long tradition of academy training there, which has brought their standard up tremendously. And yes, the Gauteng and area clubs do well, but every province has got some champions. It's a question of whether they can put enough champions together to make a team to beat the other teams.
I heard what you said about the best time is when all the members over 40 are together and the social aspect of it. And last night, actually, I was talking to a fellow sports colleague of mine who remarked, I don't know what we'd do without this sport. So I get that. I get what you mean. It's an escape. It's your happy place. And thank you for creating a happy place for people to come to and get away and enjoy and develop in a sport. We wish you the best of luck with your upcoming tournaments and rankings.
Thank you very much. Much
Okay.
appreciated.
Okay, folks. So after the break, we'll be back with boxing. So don't go anywhere.